Welcome back to the channel, coin lovers and collectors. Today, we're stepping back into the early 1970s to take a close look at a fascinating piece of American coinage, the 1973 Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that carries both history and symbolism. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone who just enjoys learning about coins, this video will take you through everything you need to know about this beautiful 50-cent piece, its design, story, metal composition, and collector value. So, let's dive right in and explore the 1973 half-dollar without a mint mark, a coin that continues to hold a special place in U.S. numismatic history. Historical background. The Kennedy half-dollar series began in 1964, just months after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Americans wanted a way to honor their fallen leader, and so, the U.S. Mint moved quickly to redesign the half-dollar to bear his portrait. By 1973, nearly a decade had passed since that historic moment, but the Kennedy half-dollar remained an enduring symbol of national respect and remembrance. The 1973 issue came out during a time of great change in the U.S. economy. Silver was no longer used in circulating coinage, and the mint had fully transitioned to a copper-nickel composition, durable and affordable, yet still shining with a silvery tone. The 1973 half-dollar wasn't widely seen in circulation, though. By this time, most Americans were already used to using quarters and dollar bills for transactions, meaning that half-dollars often sat in banks or were used mostly for collector sets and special purposes. Obverse design. The portrait of Kennedy. Let's take a closer look at the obverse side, the front of the coin. Here we see a bold and lifelike portrait of President John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts, the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint at the time. Kennedy faces left, his expression calm, thoughtful, and dignified, a design that captures the sense of leadership and optimism that Kennedy was known for. Above his head, the word Liberty arcs across the top edge of the coin, while just below the portrait, you'll find the national motto, "In God We Trust." At the bottom, the year of minting, 1973, sits proudly, marking the coin's place in history. The detail in Kennedy's hair and facial features is remarkable, especially in well-preserved examples. Over time, the relief of the portrait has been admired for its balance, strong, yet elegant, a fitting tribute to a beloved president. Reverse design. The Great Seal of the United States. Turning the coin over, we find one of the most striking reverse designs in U.S. coinage, the presidential seal, masterfully created by Frank Gasparo, who succeeded Roberts as chief engraver. At the center, you'll see the American bald eagle, wings spread wide, clutching arrows in one talon and an olive branch in the other. The arrows represent America's readiness to defend freedom, while the olive branch stands for peace, a perfect symbol of balance and strength. Surrounding the eagle are 50 stars, representing the states of the Union, encircling the Latin motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. Around the outer edge, the inscriptions read, United States of America, across the top and half-dollar at the bottom. The entire design is bold, powerful, and patriotic, instantly recognizable as a symbol of American pride. Minting details and composition. The 1973 half-dollar without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. This is important because 1973 coins were produced only for collector sets. They were not released for general circulation. That's why you won't usually find a 1973 Kennedy half-dollar in everyday change. The coin is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core, a combination known as clad. It weighs 11.34 grams, measures 30.6 millimeters in diameter, and has a reeded edge. This copper-nickel clad design gives the coin a bright silvery appearance, but without any actual silver content, a practical decision that allowed the U.S. Mint to continue producing coins efficiently during a time of rising metal costs. Mintage and availability. In 1973, the Philadelphia Mint produced around 64.9 million Kennedy half-dollars, all without a mint mark. Since these were not issued for everyday use, they were distributed only in mint sets and proof sets. The proof versions were struck at the San Francisco Mint with the S mint mark and feature a mirror-like finish, while the business strike versions from Philadelphia and Denver were intended for collectors rather than general commerce. Finding a 1973 coin in circulation today is rare because they were never meant to circulate. Most remain safely stored in collections, still bright and well-preserved. Collector value. Now, let's talk about what collectors value most, condition and rarity. Because the 1973 half dollar wasn't released for circulation, most examples are in excellent condition. In uncirculated condition, the 1973 Kennedy half dollar without a mint mark typically sells for around $2 to $5, depending on its luster and overall eye appeal. If you have a proof coin from the same year, its value can range from $5 to $10, especially if it's still in its original U.S. mint packaging. Of course, coins with perfect grading from professional services, like MS-67 or higher, can command much higher prices, sometimes reaching $20 to $30 or more at auctions. While it may not be a rare coin in the traditional sense, the 1973 issue is still an important piece for anyone building a full Kennedy half-dollar set, since it was never meant for everyday spending. Circulation and condition. Because this coin was kept out of general circulation, many examples remain bright and free from wear, showing off the crisp details of Kennedy's portrait and the eagle on the reverse. If you come across one with sharp edges, clear lettering, and no visible scratches, you found a high-grade specimen. However, coins that were handled over time or removed from mint sets can develop small contact marks or dulling, slightly reducing their collector value, but they still carry historical charm. Symbolism and legacy. The Kennedy half-dollar stands as one of the most meaningful coins in American history. It's not just currency, it's a symbol of hope, remembrance, and unity. The portrait of John F. Kennedy continues to remind Americans of a period of vision and change, a young president who inspired a nation to look toward the future. Every time collectors hold a 1973 Kennedy half-dollar, they're holding a connection to that legacy, a reminder of leadership, courage, and optimism. Final thoughts. The 1973 Kennedy half-dollar, even without a mint mark, is more than just a coin. It's a reflection of American history, artistry, and resilience.